What is going on to you, crew? Welcome back to episode 23 of the Totally Unqualified podcast. I am Luke Rosenthal, joined, of course, my two lovely co-hosts, Gage Hall, Jake Maltese. How's it going, fellas?
Doing fantastic. Ready to get into it today. I'm excited.
Yeah, this is it's a big week. Some great things happened over the weekend. Lots to talk about.
Yes, sir, of course. And we are going to get into some of week four's greatest games, as well as predicting this Thursday night's game. And then finally, guys, we're finally going to get into some baseball. It's been into the Discord. I know my friends been hollering for it. Finally, we're going to be talking about Red Sox, Yankees. But first, you know how we begin all these episodes with the guess that player. It is my week this week. Am I leading 11 to 8 to
9?
2?
11 to 9
to
2 to 1.
Two.
That was a
Gage
big,
has-
that's a big moment. Mhm.
Gage has finally beaten Adam Rank in the rankings.
Finally. Do we still
come
list
up.
Adam Rank's name in the rankings though?
I mean, we're not tied anymore, so he's in the visitor rankings now.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
You hear that, Adam? You got to come on the podcast again, I suppose.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Are you ready? Of course, NFL player. We've been going some weird positions the past couple weeks. I'm keeping it simple. We're going skill position. Drafted in the 4th round of the 2017 NFL draft. He's totaled 600 yards in every year he's been in the league. Obviously not this season yet because we're only 4 weeks in.
Michael
This
Gallup.
season, no.
Damn it.
This season, he has a 92.9 catch percentage.
Hunter Renfro.
90. It's not it either.
Runner
Although
up
he had,
hit
we're gonna get
round.
into that play that he made,
Or seventh round.
that special teams play. Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
What a heads up play. All right. He left the team he was drafted to go to an in-division rival this offseason. He's never fumbled in his NFL career.
Jamal Williams.
There it is.
Let's go,
Three.
baby.
Of course it was a
Three.
Packer. Of course it was a
Back-to-back.
former Packer.
I mean, he's lying now.
Oh,
Dead to me. Just
shit.
kidding. Love you, Jamal.
For some reason I'm thinking I was thinking a receiver. I don't know why I was
I
thinking
was too at
receiver.
first.
It's because
Yeah.
92.9 catch percentage, right?
Yeah, that was
Mm.
the thing. I was like, shit.
Mm.
Then
I only got
All
that
right.
because of Luke saying that a couple weeks ago.
I figured one
Yeah.
of you guys were going to catch on to that. Wow, Gage 2 in a row.
Yes, sir.
that's
Look
this
at
is the
that.
comeback we've been talking about. This is the comeback.
Oh
This
my
is it.
coming.
Gosh. Oh my
Unfortunately, he will not be in the running next week as he'll be doing it, but in the next episode.
Next episode.
gosh. Listen, a streak is a streak. That's 2 in a row.
It is.
We gotta-
It
we
is.
Gotta keep our guard up. And before we get into our first topic, guys, if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, make sure to review, make sure to give us a rating. We would be grateful for that. Damn, it's tough words. And before we get into our first segment, guys, if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, make sure to leave us a rating and review. We would appreciate it greatly. And if you're watching us on YouTube, sorry that you have to look at our ugly faces, but please like and subscribe, comment on the video. You know the drill. Turn post notifications on while you're at it. I feel like a YouTuber saying that now. That's crazy. But we are going to get into our first topic of the day. And Gage, this is going to be a tough one for you. The New Orleans Saints dropped their first home game with fans after Hurricane Ida. It was a tough one. They lose in overtime to the Giants 27-21. You could have the floor.
I don't know what we're doing. Like 1 week we show the flashes, like we could be a playoff team. We like have the skill to go on some sort of run. And then we have a week like this where we just look absolutely abysmal. The offense can't get going. We were up 2 scores at one point and the Giants come back and obviously tie it, take it into overtime. And then they drive down the field like it's nothing. Saquon ends the game. I think the biggest issue for us right now is not so much the defense. Like the defense didn't play great in this game, but our offense is just stagnating. Like it feels like Sean Payton still has these training wheels on the offense for Jameis. Like he's worried about those mistakes that he could potentially make. Obviously throwing 30 interceptions in the past. We don't need to talk about that. I hear that enough. But I think that we finally need to open this offense up. And we might not do it just yet. I feel like we're going to wait a couple weeks because I have been hearing that both Michael Thomas and Traquan Smith look very good and look like they could get back on the field now, but they're going to take a couple extra weeks just to make sure they are fully healthy so that they don't end up re-injuring themselves. But we get those guys back on the field. We get Teron Armstead back and Eric McCoy back on the O-line, and I think we'll be solid. then we can actually open up our plays and get Jameis throwing bombs. But as far as the rest of it, I don't know. I don't know what we're going to do until then.
Yeah. Is Daniel Jones good now? Can we make that decree?
That too. Yeah.
Let's not go there. He's
I don't
improving. He's improving, baby steps.
He's played really fucking good so far.
He has.
Yeah.
He has that. I never expected it out of Daniel Jones, but he's got that killer instinct, man. He does. Like he is not going down without a fight. He's going to fight to that last second. And there are some quarterbacks starting in the NFL that don't have that. Like really, it's hard to find. But yeah, the Giants, listen, I do think Joe Judge is the coach that's going to bring the Giants back to relevancy. I think he's a great coach. So it sucked when I saw them off to an 0-3 start. But yeah, Daniel Jones was the question mark. He was a question mark going into this year. I mean, the offensive line obviously not ideal, but that's a problem to address in years to come. But you got the weapons. Giants are stacked with weapons now. Okay, you got the running back. Saquon looks like he's almost fully back to form if he isn't already. Giants defense can be a little better, but you got the pieces there. And James Bradbury, Leonard Williams, Jabril Peppers has been good. So Giants look good. This team is definitely set up for the future with Daniel Jones looking promising. I mean, Giants, I think they're good. Now, obviously, I think they're still going to have a losing record this year. But I don't think it's as bad a loss as you think, Gage. I think they've had some unfortunate, kind of circumstance with the first couple of games. But listen, this is not a team that really you're going to blow out. They're a tough team to play.
I said last week that if we lost to the Giants, that all hope was lost. But honestly, like after the way they played, I don't feel that way. I definitely feel like we still have a chance. The Giants, I mean, like you said, Daniel Jones played really well. Saquon, we were doing well stopping him on with the run. But if he wasn't an all-pro receiver also, then maybe we would have been all right.
Yeah.
As far as how I see this game, the Saints needed to win this. Like they really, it's obviously not season ending. Like you're not going to make the playoffs because it's way early in the season. But just like the moment of it all, coming home back to New Orleans, you've been on the road for a month and a half. It's your first time really with fans in about two years now. They had to win this game. It was unfortunate that they didn't. I just don't. It's a weird scenario because you don't really see this with Sean Payton led offenses, but I don't think they have an identity on offense at all. I think once Drew Brees left, now that you have Jameis Winston in there, I think things are out of whack. Although Alvin Kamara had a good game this week, I still feel like he's a little bit out of sync in some aspects of the game. I think a lot of things will get better though as Michael Thomas and Traquan Smith come back, as their offense gets healthier. But I feel like they just need to get out some of the wrinkles in this offense, and I think they'll be pretty good. As for the Giants, I mean, this team could have a winning record right now, or maybe not a winning record. They could be 500 if they didn't lose to the Washington football team in a great game. Like I feel like those 3 losses to the Giants, by just looking at it, it kind of, I guess, fades your view of the team, because you see though they were 0-3 coming into this week. You think they're automatically a bad team, but they've had some close losses. Lost on the game-winning field goal last week to the Falcons. They've been in close games. And like you said, Daniel Jones is improving. I'm not going to go ahead and say that he's some world-beating, quarterback. He's going to lead them to a division title. But now that they're starting to get Saquon involved in this offense, and you're starting to see Kenny Golladay, Kadarius Toney, all these pieces come together, this team could be dangerous. It really could, especially if their defense continues to improve throughout the year. They haven't had the greatest start to the season, but they are improving week by week. To go into New Orleans in a game like this, it goes to show how well coached this team is. And like you said, Jake, I think Joe Judge is an amazing head coach. And I didn't really expect that when he was hired last year. It was like, oh, Joe Judge, the special teams coordinator for the Patriots. Like we've seen how these Bill Belichick tree quarterbacks do in the NFL. I mean, look at Matt Patricia, look at Josh McDaniels. Like a lot of them don't do well and they end up coming back to New England. But Joe Judge is the outlier there. It was a tough loss for the Saints.
Yeah, and I don't knock Sean Payton very often because I don't feel like I have a need to. But the play calling, I feel like, is just one of our biggest downfalls right now. Alvin Kamara had 0 targets in that game. Like he had over 100 yards rushing, but he's a receiving threat too. And we didn't throw him the ball at all. And we're missing two of our best receivers. So I don't know. I want to see things open up some. But yeah, shout out to John Ross and Kadarius Toney and those guys too, because they looked great. And they didn't even have Sterling Shepard and Darius Slade.
Yeah. John Ross was not a name that I was expecting to hear in that game at all.
He was my breakout player for this division when we did that with OG.
Hey, good call. Good call.
There you go.
Kadarius Toney's so shifty, man. Some of the stuff he was
he
doing
is.
in that game was dirty. Like
They were
once they get him involved,
a lot.
yeah. I mean, they have a lot of playmakers on offense now. Moving on, Jake, to a game that you must have been ecstatic about. The Seattle Seahawks go into San Francisco and hand them their second home loss in 2 weeks. They beat them 28-21. Jake, you got it, man.
Yeah. So I mean, I mentioned this in the last episode that the NFC West is just weird like this. I mean, we're going to talk about the other game that happened this week. We go into each other's home stadiums and beat each other. Like that's how this goes. It happens every year. I wish it wasn't a continuing thing, but it just seems to be this continuous thing that happens. And it still stands true. The Seahawks, obviously, if you saw my TikTok, I was not happy with the first couple drives of the game. I was ready to turn off my TV and just be done with it. The O-line could not block for shit. I'm sorry, Luke's grandpa, for cursing there. But the O-line couldn't block. The offense was just stagnated constantly. The Niners looked like they were 100% the best team on the field. The defense wasn't stopping the run. They weren't stopping the pass. It just looked ugly. It looked ugly. And I was just ready to be like, this team's going to have a losing record. This is going to be Russell Wilson's first year with a losing record. This was a must-win game. I know that's crazy to be in week 4 and have a must-win game. There's a big difference between being 2-2 and 1-3. And the Seahawks, you know what? Credit to them. They toughed this one out. They did. They fixed it. The defense started playing better. The O-line started getting some blocks. Russell started making some plays. He had a Houdini throw after a really good special teams play where they recovered the football in the red zone of San Francisco. Russ does what he does best, spins out of his stack, throws a dime on a rope in the quarter of the end zone to, I think it was Freddie Swain.
Yep.
But listen, this is what this team can do. This is the potential of the Seahawks team. I'm not saying they're going to win the Super Bowl, but this is a playoff caliber team. As they still definitely need pieces. But I was very excited to see them play this way. In terms of San Francisco, Jimmy Garoppolo wasn't all that consistent to start off the game. And Trey Sermon looked pretty good. He looked decent. But like I mentioned, they looked dominant to start the game. Trey Lance obviously came in the second half, which I was not expecting. Trey Lance started the second half, played the entire second half of the game because Jimmy Garoppolo was having shoulder issues. I'm skeptical if he was really having shoulder issues.
I thought it was a calf injury, is what I heard.
Or calf injury. He had something. He had something going on. I'm skeptical to believe that that's actually what was going on. I think Kyle Shanahan just kind of cut the cord with that one. I just wanted to get to Trey Lance already. Trey Lance, you could tell he wasn't ready to go in. He wasn't ready to play in the NFL, arguably. He made one good throw on a wide open Debo was completely blown coverage. I'm not even going to give him credit for that throw because literally there was no defender within 30 yards of him. I think there's a miscommunication, but Trey Lance looked all right, I guess, as good as he's going to look for just being shocked to go in the game. But yeah, I'm very impressed with the Seahawks in this one. They needed this win. They toughed it out. And hopefully this can continue for weeks to come.
Yeah, I mean, I was the only one who picked the 49ers. Obviously, that didn't turn out too hot for me. And I don't want to say necessarily that if Jimmy G had stayed in the game, that it would have been any different, because I really don't think it is, or it would have been. What I will say is that I don't think teams are playing the Seahawks each week. I think teams are playing Russell Wilson each week, because Russell Wilson is really putting the team on his back as he has for so long now. And he's just, like you said, he hit Swain in the end zone for that one pass and just looked fantastic. That's what he does. Russell Wilson is this team, and he's going to continue to be this team because the O-line doesn't look great. The defense has their flashes, but they still don't look great. One thing I do want to say is I have still been seeing so much Jamal Adams hate, and I am so sick of it.
I saw your video on that.
Yes. Why? Why do people insist on putting the blame on him for some reason?
Because it's easy. Because they could see. Because they're not watching the game. Like, they're not sitting down and watching a Seahawks game. They're watching Red Zone, and they're seeing Debo Samuel run for an 80-yard touchdown. They're seeing the Seahawks defense struggle, and they're just like, oh, guess Jamal Adams isn't doing his job. No, you're just not watching the game. That's what's happening.
I think genuinely if the Seahawks are able in coming years to put the pieces around him, that he can go back to playing safety and be that great safety that they know him to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So tired of hearing that. The Seahawks had a great game. I think that the Seahawks are going to stick in this, and they're still going to continue to be a contender or a team that can beat these other good teams week to week. And the NFC West is going to continue to be just crazy competitive.
Yeah, the 49ers are a weird team this year. Like I really can't put my finger on why they're not performing as well as we expected them to. It's just a weird team this year. They're going through some quarterback changes. Obviously Jimmy G may or may not be injured. Who knows at this point? And Trey Lance came in and he did not look that great. It's kind of similar to what we saw in the preseason. Sometimes they bring him in on, just quarterback scramble packages. But this, like you said, guys, it was an ugly win. But the Seahawks absolutely needed it. The biggest mystery to the start of this season, where is George Kittle? Why are we not throwing the ball to George Kittle? Why are we not throwing the ball to your best player? I mean, he did have 11 targets. I think he only had 4 catches. But
dealing with an injury too.
He was banged up coming into the season as well. But you have to get him involved in some way. Like, don't get me wrong. Debo Samuel deserves all the targets, all the receptions he gets because he is just a playmaker. He's pretty much a running back playing wide receiver. That's how good he is. So shifty, so strong, great at attacking the ball. But this 49ers team is just stagnant. I feel like a lot of their offense relies on these big plays like that, 70 or so yard touchdown pass to a wide open Debo Samuel. And I feel it's weird because, like I said, for the Saints, you don't really see this out of Sean Payton led offenses. You don't really see this out of Kyle Shanahan led offenses where they are stagnant. So I'd like to see some more out of this 49ers offense, plain and simple. And who knows if we're actually going to see that now that Trey Lance might be coming in. Hopefully it's not a Matt Nagy situation where he's like, we're starting Jimmy G. I don't care what you say. But ugly win by a decent team, a good team. We're going to see if they're a great team in weeks to come. It's going to be a really, really hard finish to see who wins this division. But it was an ugly win, and I'll just keep it at that.
I like that a lot too about the 49ers and their offense there, because I feel like they need to spread the ball more. Like Debo Samuel's doing great. He's the only receiver in the league right now that's on pace to have 2,000 receiving yards. Yeah. But Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, I hope with Trey Lance, because I'm thinking he's going to start again this coming week. I want to see more like run pass options and stuff like that. I want to see them use Trey Lance and Trey Sermon in that backfield and have the defenses guessing is what I'd like to see going forward.
Yeah, I almost feel like Kyle Juszczyk is a bigger part of this offense than George Kittle is right now. Yeah. And that you can't have that if you want to win football games. You just can't.
I mean, they also had Robbie Gould get hurt in this game, which was wild. And then they had their punter kicking field goals, and Kyle Juszczyk was holding the ball. So,
which is
not a lot going their way.
Mitch Wishnowsky, and he missed a field goal and an extra point, so helped us out a lot. I also do want to give credit to Jordan Brooks, who is our second-year linebacker, first-round pick last year in 2020, has looked phenomenal. He's looked so good. He was probably the player of the game, in my opinion, for this last game. It's so nice to finally hit on a first round pick. It's so nice to finally hit on a first round pick. He looks like he's going to be really good for years to come. I don't even think he scratched the surface of his potential. He was so instinctually and just physically gifted coming out of Texas Tech, but obviously he was not coached up at Texas Tech because they don't know how to coach defense. So it'll be fun to see his development through the years.
Jake, what shirt are you wearing underneath the jersey?
Okay, so it's not. I know it's the deceiving. It says garbage with the Red Sox logo. I've gotten some comments on TikTok, like when I wear this, like, oh, are you wearing a Red Sox? Like, no, read it. Like it says garbage. I know the jersey kind of covers it. Yeah, I would never in my lifetime ever wear a Boston Red Sox logo if not in this scenario right here where I'm making fun of them.
I love it. Yeah. I love it. Moving on, we're going to be talking about my team. The Green Bay Packers move on to 3-1 as they defeat the Pittsburgh Steelers 27-17. I'm going to start off with this one if y'all don't mind. I don't like the way that the Packers finished this game. They looked stagnant at times in the third and fourth quarter. Their red zone offense was all out of whack in this game. But what I do love seeing out of this team is they're going up against really good defenses, really good front sevens, and they're barely letting up pressure, and they're winning the line of scrimmage. They're winning it up in the trenches and not having David Bakhtiari or Elton Jenkins like playing for them right now. It's absolutely absurd what they're doing on the offensive line. I mean, Nick Bosa, non-factor. TJ Watt, non-factor. Cam Hayward, non-factor. Eric Armstead, non-factor. What they've been doing the past 2 weeks is crazy. Hopefully Elton Jenkins comes back soon. I just have to give all the credit in the world to this Packers offensive line. AJ Dillon looked really good in this game. Randall Cobb had 69 yards. Nice. 2 touchdowns as well. He really broke open the game for the Packers. Otherwise, if they didn't have him, it probably would have been a closer game in the end. The biggest thing coming out of this game, of course, is Jair Alexander's injury. It's an AC joint injury. It looks like a sprain. We really don't know. They said that they were going to give us updates on Wednesday as we are recording this on Tuesday. So we should know more tomorrow when this episode does come out. I'm looking on Twitter. Nobody knows what the hell is going on. People are saying he could return in this Bengals game. People are saying that he could be out for the entire season. And if he is out for the entire season, and it's worst case scenario, the Packers are in trouble. I will say rookie cornerback Eric Stokes has been playing out of his goddamn mind. He is everything Kevin King should have been and then some. I get this. Kevin King has only been targeted 9 times. He's let up 6 catches. Eric Stokes has been targeted 21 times, has let up 5 catches. And Kevin King has let up like 70, 80 more yards than Eric Stokes. Eric Stokes has been playing out of his mind, had a pick on Big Ben Roethlisberger. Moving on to the Steelers, Big Ben, it's time. It's time. I've been saying this for a couple weeks now. This offense is worse than last year's. And I mean, last year's was pretty good. They have a great group of receivers, but like Big Ben just can't get it done anymore. I mean, he's missing every throw constantly. And the worst part about it is they can't run the damn football because they don't have an offensive line. And Big Ben is forced to throw 40 times a game, and he just can't get it done. Deontay Johnson had a beautiful touchdown on Jair Alexander in the first quarter. But other than that, Big Ben just couldn't do anything. They didn't have Chase Claypool in this game. Najee Harris did get his first NFL touchdown or rushing touchdown. But this Steelers team, legitimately, it might be one of the worst teams in the NFL. I know how good their defense is, but with their defense constantly being on the field because their offense is so subpar, it's not making their defense look any better. Their defense is constantly tired. They're constantly exhausted, and it results in games like these where they give up 27 points to a team they probably shouldn't. So I don't know what to say about the Steelers. I think they might be one of the worst teams in the AFC.
Yeah, I mean, the Steelers, their defense can't do enough to get it done. Obviously, they haven't been able to do it up to this point. If they make some big plays in some games later on, that's the only way they're going to be winning games, in my opinion. Yep. Because at one point in the game, Big Ben was 1 for 6 on passes of over 10 yards. And it's not that he can't throw it deep. He's just completely inaccurate. He's overthrowing receivers. He had basically two would have been touchdowns to Juju and completely overthrew him both of those plays. So I think it's time to bench Big Ben. I hate to say it, but it's just time for him to sit down. I think they have a better chance at winning with Dwayne Haskins at quarterback. But what I'd really like to see,
that's a hot take. We need to clip that one.
What I would really like to see, though, if you thought that was a hot take, sign Cam Newton.
Ooh.
Sign Cam Newton. He at least is mobile and can escape the pressure behind that bad O-line. And he's got the power. And he looks like he hasn't been the most accurate quarterback throughout his career, but I would be willing to say is going to be more accurate than Big Ben has been thus far. So he can get it to those weapons on that offense. I think he would be a great pickup for them.
I like Mason Rudolph as an option. I think better than Cam and Dwayne.
Think so?
I feel like he's a little bit better in that scheme. He's been there for a couple of years now. As long as he's not getting hit over the head with a helmet, I mean, I think he gives you a better chance than Big Ben does.
Preseason doesn't tell all, but I mean, all preseason, I was hearing that Dwayne Haskins was giving Mason Rudolph a run for his money, and then he looked better in the preseason games too. So it might be a different story up against these first string defenses, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's I wonder if the Steelers are just trying to avoid kind of what happened with the Giants when they benched Eli Manning for Geno Smith, just kind of the optics of that situation, because it is Big Ben's last run. Like we know, obviously by the play, that this is his last year. This is his last year. He means so much to the city of Pittsburgh. He means a lot really to the NFL. So I think it's more of just like, I mean, if you legitimately think this team could potentially make the playoffs with the change of quarterback, which honestly they might be able to. The offensive line is still atrocious, but like the defense is good. The defense is definitely playoff caliber. You got some good receivers. Najee Harris is a good running back. So, I mean, you got like good pieces on that team. This is a team that went 11-0 last year, start the season. So I don't know. It's a tough situation for Mike Tomlin to be in because he's been with Big Ben all those years and everything that Big Ben's done for him. And just to be in that situation where you might need to consider benching him is probably a tough spot to be in. If they did end up doing it, I do like that Cam Newton pickup idea. But I do think I heard the same things, Gage, coming out of training camp, that Dwayne Haskins was playing better than Mason Rudolph. So I think it probably would be Dwayne Haskins. Not that that is anything to write home about. I still think Dwayne Haskins is not going to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. I think he's a backup all the way. But it'll be definitely interesting to track the Steelers team and what the decision they make is. That is not a spot I would like to be in, though, if I were a head coach in the NFL.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Going forward, I would love to be in that spot because I don't feel like they're far off at all as long as they improve the O-line and get a quarterback. Like I feel like they could win with an average quarterback, but Big Ben just isn't that right now.
I mean, honestly,
go ahead. They locked up TJ Watt long term. I mean, Juju, he's on a 1-year deal, but Chase Claypool's up for a contract soon, so you might be right. They do have the pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, I wonder if maybe they do just leave Big Ben in all year. Tank, go for the quarterback. I mean, you know you're going to need one. Get a high pick, go for that quarterback. And listen, you got a good enough one. You got a Matt Corral, you got a Malik Willis. Like, you could potentially be a playoff team. And you know, the Steelers, we know the ideology nowadays in the NFL is you want to win your best chance to win a Super Bowl is when your quarterback's on a rookie contract. Yep. The Steelers are in prime position. They bombed this year. They're going to have to suck this year. Sorry, Steelers fans. Get a great quarterback in the draft. Get one of the top 2 guys. Going to next season, maybe you're a playoff contender. Maybe in a year or 2, you're a Super Bowl contender. So not all bad for the Steelers.
They do have a quarterback on a rookie contract, though. His name is Mason Rudolph, guys. Come on.
Come on. No. We've seen the Mason Rudolph experiment.
Yeah. I do want to mention, though, the field goal block that the Steelers had, which they were called offsides for, I think was a bad call. It really could have gone 50-50 either way, but like the refs, I just hate seeing the refs inject themselves in the game on such a ticky-tack call like that. I personally think he jumped it spot on, just like timed the snap perfectly. I think it was Joe Hayden that they called offsides, but Minkah Fitzpatrick blocked it and then returned it like 80 yards. I think that was a bad call, but you know what? We're used to that as NFL fans, getting bad calls every week. We saw Joey Bosa yesterday in his press conference call out the refs, and he's going to get a fine in the mail, but thank God it's what's on everybody's mind, every NFL fan's mind. So something needs to be done about that. And moving on to our final game, we're going to be going over and reviewing. Are the Arizona Cardinals the best team in the NFL right now? I mean, they're the only undefeated team after last night, after the Raiders lost. They go into Los Angeles, the Los Angeles team who just smoked the Super Bowl champions at home and smoked the Rams this week, 37-20. Jake, are the Cardinals the best team in the NFL?
It's debatable. I mean, it's definitely debatable at this point. Like I said, I don't really read too much into these matchups because it just, no matter if it's the worst team in the NFL versus the best team in the NFL, NFC West is weird. They will beat each other every single time. It happens every year. But listen, I'd be stupid to say the Cardinals didn't look impressive because they did. They looked really, really freaking impressive. I got to give props to Cliff Kingsbury. I questioned a lot his coaching in the NFL, whether it would work. It's working up to this point. It just worked against one of the best defenses in the NFL. Kyler Murray is probably the leading candidate for MVP at this point. Matt Stafford had a little bit of a poor game there. Definitely not his best. Chase Edmonds looked really good. AJ Green, the resurgence of AJ Green. AJ Green looks like he's back to his self. He snatched one out of the air for like a 40-yard touchdown this game. The Cardinals, the defense is really impressive. The offense is looking really impressive. It's just a matter of whether they could sustain it. And for the Rams, I think they'll be fine. I mean, you're entitled to a bad game or two in the NFL. It's going to happen at one point. But yeah, I mean, the Cardinals were definitely the better team on Sunday.
I don't know whether to feel good that I've been high on the Cardinals all this time and they're looking like one of the best teams in the NFL, or to feel bad that we were all saying that the Rams were the best team in the NFL last week just for them to get beat this way this week. So it sucks to see the Rams and my MVP pick go down in that way. But like Jake said, everybody's entitled to a bad game. And if they're losing to a team that's at the caliber of the Cardinals, I feel like that's not that bad of a loss. You would have liked to have seen them play better, but the Cardinals look just really, really good. That defense is playing well. Byron Murphy had another interception this week, and he's looking great. So that defense is stepping up. The pass rush looks good. Kyler Murray is obviously making plays all over the place. Their running backs aren't like, they're not doing a ton week to week, but they're doing enough to keep them in the game where they can go to them on the ground and keep the defense guessing. So I like this Cardinals team a lot. I think they're going to continue to be good, like I've been saying. And the NFC West, man, crazy.
Yeah, absolutely crazy. Kyler Murray is the MVP right now through 4 weeks. I don't want to get ahead of myself and say he's going to win it, because obviously last year through 4 weeks, Patrick Mahomes was the MVP, and we all know what happened. So we got to take that with a grain of salt. But man, the Cardinals have never beat the Rams in the Sean McVay era. And for them to go into Los Angeles in that environment after they're coming off probably the biggest win for them in years, I mean, that's crazy. That's not a spot where you should be winning that game, but they went ahead and did it in ridiculous fashion. I think we need to start apologizing to Cliff Kingsbury, guys.
I was just about to say, I was going to say, I know how you guys feel about the Cardinals, but how do you feel about Cliff Kingsbury at this point?
I mean, how could you not feel great about this offense? He's doing it all. And like, especially when the Cardinals have a running game. I mean, Chase Edmonds had 12 for 120. James Conner had 18 for 50 and 2 touchdowns. When they're not just heavily reliant on Kyler Murray to run the ball, this team is even more dangerous. And their defense their defense played well, obviously holding the Rams to 20 points. But it's not like they were coming up with key plays. They barely pressured Matt Stafford. They didn't get any sacks on him the entire game. We were talking, I don't know if it was before we started recording, but we were talking about a most improved player award if there were to be one in the NFL. And I would argue we might have to give it to Byron Murphy, because he's been playing ridiculous the past 2 weeks. He had 2 picks last week, 1 pick this week. He's been looking locked down, and he's looking pretty much like the second coming of Patrick Peterson, maybe. That this Rams team, offensively, defensively, it's dangerous. Kyler Murray just had a field day, and it's not even like the receivers were a huge factor in this game. D-Hop had 4 for 67. AJ Green had 5 for 67. Max Williams had 5 for 66. So it's not like Kyler Murray had the best game of his career, but you put up 37 up against quite possibly the best defense in football. I know people will argue the Bills. I would even argue the Bills, but definitely a top 3 defense in the NFL. You can't say much about it. It was just a spectacular win. And the Arizona Cardinals remain undefeated. They're the only team that remains undefeated through 4 weeks. The only team that could challenge those Dolphins to be the only undefeated teams ever. So I'd love to see this team in the playoffs. I hope they don't fall off, because they are so fun to watch. Absolutely.
But yeah, like what you said about the Cardinals offense, they have just so many great receivers that the Rams had Jalen Ramsey, and D-Hop still puts up decent numbers. You can't go to D-Hop, go to AJ Green. You can't go to AJ Green, go to Christian Kirk. You can't go to Christian Kirk, go to Rondale Moore. They just have so many great pieces right now. Cliff Kingsbury knows what he's doing. He's got all the pieces to do it now. I like him.
And moving on, let's get into some predicting, y'all. Quick update on the records for the season. I am tied for dead last with Jake. Unlike in the Guess That Player, we are both sitting at 38 and 26. The TU crew sitting in second with a 41 and 23 record, and Gage completely flips the script in first place currently with a record of 42 and 22. Gage, congratulations. You got another one today on the Guess That Player.
Gage is unstoppable right now.
You are on a streak right now, although did lose to Jake in fantasy. Did lose to Jake.
You did.
Yes.
Thank you, Austin
Austin
Eckler.
Eckler went off.
That was a tough one. You're 4-0, Jake.
4-0
in the charity league.
I'm the only one that's I'm the only undefeated team left.
I just got my first win this week. Thank God.
Wow. I know, Luke, you've been struggling, man.
Yeah, it's a rough one for me. But that's enough fantasy talk. Let's talk about the team we were just talking about. The Los Angeles Rams coming off that loss at home to the Cardinals, go and have to play in a tough environment, go into the 12s, go into Seattle, playing the Seahawks on Thursday Night Football. Gage, who do you got and why?
Well, Jake is just so high on this philosophy that every away team in this division ends up winning. So I'm going to go ahead and stick with that. And I honestly just think that the Rams are still the better team. The Seahawks had a great showing last week, especially in that second half. But I'm going with the Rams in this one. I think they're going to win it. For my score prediction, I'm going to go 27-17, a little 10-point difference, couple scores there. And for my player of the game, who else but Matthew Stafford?
Yeah, I was just thinking that before when Luke said that. Luke asked us to, talk about the games. It's tough because, the Rams, I mean, they came into Seattle last year with John Wofford and kicked our ass. So it's a tough pill for me to swallow. I don't know how I feel about the Seahawks in this game. But with that being said, I'm going to do it. I'm going to pick the Seahawks. I have to do it. I have to do it, especially
That's
against
fair.
division rival like the Rams. It's tough for me to believe that the Rams will lose 2 in a row, but I mean, it is a short week. Seattle has some momentum coming off that San Francisco win, so that's good. It's always good when you give Sean McVay little time to actually game plan for you. That's a positive. So I think that'll work to Seattle's advantage. Obviously, you got the 12s there. Always a tough environment to play in, no matter if they lost their first home opener for the first time in however long. When against the Titans. So I'm going to go Seattle in this one. I'm going to say Seattle 24-21.
I would argue this is another must-win game for Seattle.
Yeah.
Because especially in this division, you're home against the Rams. I mean, I think it is a must-win. I don't want to see them going 2-3 because you need to keep pace with the Rams and with the Cardinals now being undefeated. It's a tough one. It's a tough one because I think the Rams are going to come out swinging after that embarrassing loss at home. And at the same time, it's hard as hell to win in Seattle. I mean, I'm a Packers fan. I would know that firsthand. It's so tough with that environment, with that crowd, with the 12s. I don't know. I feel like this is really a pick 'em. I mean, the odds, or Vegas has the Rams as 1.5-point favorites. So they clearly think it's also a pick 'em too. If it's anything like 3 or below, it's pretty much a pick 'em. I'm gonna stick with Jake on this one. I think I'm gonna go with the Seahawks. Listen, you had the 49ers last week. I'm feeling a little bit of good luck picking the Seahawks this week. Who'd you pick as your player of the game, Jake?
Oh, I didn't pick my player of the game.
Oh, sorry.
I have to pick a player of the game. I'll pick Russ. I mean,
You'll pick Russ?
It's got to be Russ. Yeah.
All right. If I can't pick Russ, then damn, who do I pick? You know what? Give me Chris Carson. Give me Chris Carson as player of the game. Give me Chris Carson. Listen, he'll probably have like 60 yards, but I think he's going to score 2 rushing touchdowns and a receiving touchdown. Give me Chris Carson and give me the Seahawks to win this game. Give me them 27-23. I'm picking the 12s. They're at home. I know we saw this in the playoffs last year, and I know that the Rams defense dominated. I just think it's an early season game. The Rams didn't look great last week. I think they're going to have a little bit of a hangover this week. I think they might let one game beat them twice. So give me the Seattle Seahawks in this one.
I also want to add real quick, we did our Thursday pick 'em last week, and we added in these extra things for extra points, of course. Yes, haha, extra points. Jake did get 1 point for player of the game, Joe Burrow, and I got a point for having the closest score prediction, so those will be added on as well. Luke, unfortunately, you kind of got screwed over with your player of the game because Jesse Bates didn't even play. So.
Yeah, I was going to say
that was cool. That was fun. I loved that. Jeez. Watch, Chris Carson's going to be out. He's going to get a toe injury, the day before. It's going to be tough. And guys, this part 2 of the episode, we're going to be raw reacting to the Yankees loss to the Red Sox. It was an unfortunate one. If you're watching on YouTube, you could see the screen behind Jake. Jake, I'm going to let you have the floor, man.
Oh, geez. Oh, where do I start? Typical. I'm used to it by now. The thing that pisses me off is I don't know, because my family got to see this championship Yankee team growing up, just like the Yankees were always so dominant. The 1 year that I guess I was alive when the Yankees won it in 2000, but I had literally just been born 2 months before. When the Yankees won it in 2009, I wasn't even allowed to stay up for the games because they were so late. My mom would just wake me up and tell me how they did. So I wasn't even able to enjoy that. It's fucking awful. That's what it is. Okay. This team has been arguably, look at this team on paper. Look at the resources we've put into this team. We have all-stars littered on this team. We have talent all over the place. And to not even get to a World Series in the Boone era is laughable. It's laughable. It's despicable. Just go through the roster. Gary Sanchez, multi-time All-Star. I know he's iffy. First base, Luke Voit and Anthony Rizzo, both All-Stars. Luke Voit led the league in home runs last year. Second base, DJ LeMahieu, All-Star, was in the MVP conversation last year. Shortstop, Gleyber Torres. Gleyber should be a second baseman. He should be a second baseman. Gleyber Torres, All-Star. Third base, you got, I guess, LeMahieu or Urshela. Urshela is an All-Star. Urshela is one of the best defensive third basemen in all baseball. He's amazing. He doesn't always get the credit in terms of hitting, but he's a very clutch hitter. You go to the outfield, Aaron Judge. We all know who Aaron Judge is. I don't need to extend on that one. Giancarlo Stanton doesn't play a lot of outfield, but you know damn well what he could do. He did it tonight. Center field. Greg Allen should be playing center field, but let's just say Joey Gallo. 38 home runs, led the league in walks, is a multi-time All-Star. Left field. Brett Gardner, but we don't got to talk about that. All over the place. There's talent, and it continues to waste away because Aaron Boone doesn't know how to manage it. He doesn't know how to light a spark under this team. He doesn't know how to manage a bullpen. Don't get me started on Garrett Cole, who he gave $324 million to do absolutely jack shit in big games. Jack shit. This is unbelievable. Unbelievable. And don't even get me started. People are going to say, oh, it's because the spider tack. Listen, Garrett Cole had amazing games even after they banned the spider tack. Okay. It's not the spider tack. All right. It is not that. It's just a mismanagement of pitchers and the bullpen and no spark under the team when it comes to clutch game. It's so excruciating because it's right in front of them. It's right in front of them for the taking. There's nothing this team doesn't have. There's zero this team doesn't have. It doesn't even help that they're in the hardest division in baseball, and it's not even close. It's not even fucking close. I swear to God, if Boone is not looking for a new home by the time I wake up tomorrow, I am burning every Yankee jersey that I have. This is ridiculous. If the team is dedicated to success, which I don't even know if they know what success is over the past decade, literally, have they heard of winning? Have they heard of winning in clutch moments? I don't know. Have they heard of consistency? Apparently not. Have they heard of a good training staff that can keep players healthy? No.
Go off.
I'm just
Go off, King. Go off.
It's
Speak your
years. It's years of just championship talent falling short. Championship talent. Oh, what happened? Oh yeah, in a game 7, that team was using fucking garbage cans to beat your ass. Yeah, that's great. Okay, Cheetahs is out of the championship there. Championship talent falling up short. Championship talent falling up short. It's literally just year in and year out. If the hope wasn't there, I wouldn't care. I didn't mean to drop bars there, but I just did. We go into every year. Oh, the Yankees can win a World Series this year. The Yankees are probably the favorite to win a World Series this year. The Yankees can win a World Series this year. They have they finally got the piece to get it. Every addition we make, oh, that's the piece that'll do it. That's the piece that'll do it. No, it still hasn't happened. I don't know what piece. I don't know if we need Mickey Mantle to get out of his fucking grave and come lead this team to a championship. I don't know if we need Babe Ruth, the great Bambino, to teach his team how to hit in clutch situations. I don't know what we need. I don't know, but we need a new spark. We need a new start. People are going to blame this on Cashman. I don't understand that. Cashman has put all the talent on the field. That's all Cashman can do. That he could just assemble a team. That's all he could do. It's up to the players to go out there and fucking play. Anybody could see this team is fucking talented. Boone and Phil Nevin. Don't even get me started on our third base coach sending Aaron Judge on that. Like, that's just stupid. That was stupid. Phil Nevin could stay in Boston if he's just going to let them score. If he's just going to play for them. I swear he's going to be fine. I never thought I'd be pissed off at a third base coach. I never thought that would happen. Aaron Boone's got to go.
Wow.
And if it still doesn't happen, this team's cursed. I don't know what to fucking say. I don't know what to say. This team's cursed if it still doesn't happen. It just seems like every year, even when the Yankees are good, there's got to be a team better than them in the division. There's got to be every team. Now the Blue Jays are on the come up, and that's scaring the fuck out of me. Not to mention, yeah, the Tampa Bay Rays are good. They're not going to be good forever because it comes down to the fact that they can't pay the players even though when they perform. That's why Blake Snell left. And the Red Sox. The Red Sox were the worst team in the division last year. Where the fuck did they come from? How? How did this happen?
We got rid of talent and got better.
Yeah. They traded away arguably the best player in baseball, Mookie Betts. And they're still good.
We got rid of like
won
our
a World
whole
Series
outfield.
after it. How? How does that happen? How does that happen? They're trading away talent and winning World Series. We can't acquire talent and win a World Series. It makes no fucking sense. The whole universe is against us, and I'm convinced we're cursed. Fire Boone. That's all I gotta say.
I gotta say that I completely agree here. I think Boone needs an extension immediately as a Red Sox fan.
Shut up.
But I thoroughly enjoyed that game. Thought it went extremely well. I think that third base coach is definitely going to be walking into a pink slip in the morning. He will not be with the team any longer because what the fuck was that call? Absolutely ridiculous. But I mean, you can't even really blame Stanton and Judge in this game because they both played well. At one point in the game, they gave the stats. They were 3 for 6 and the rest of the team was 2 for 20.
Yep.
So it's like, I mean, what do you do in that situation? They can't do much more than what they were doing. So those guys were great. The rest of the team struggled. Anthony Rizzo hit that home run that looked like it was going to give them a bit of fuel, a bit of fire under their asses to maybe go on a run, and it just didn't happen. I don't know. I mean, we've talked about it multiple times now, Jake, before we started the recording. I don't think either of these teams are really capable of beating the Rays anyway.
No.
So it was just going to be this matchup. And then I really don't think we make it past the next round anyway. So the effort was kind of futile to begin with. But I don't know. I don't know what the Yankees need to do either. If I had the answer, I wouldn't give it to them either because fuck the Yankees. But
Whoa.
That's hey man, I'm going to take I've heard nothing but shit for like 2 weeks about, well, not even like a month now, because the Yankees have gotten good. They've been beating our asses every chance they get with their new acquired talent and this and that. And then when it comes down to when it matters, we get the win. So I'm going to take this and savor it as much as I can.
Yeah. You know what? I forgot to mention anything. Fuck the Nationals. Fuck that. We would have had home field advantage. Stanton would have had 3 home runs in any other ballpark. Any other ballpark, Stanton has 3 homers in that game. Trace homers.
He's cursed.
Joey Gallo, we had a couple warning track balls, probably gone in Yankee Stadium. Oh my
God. So I watched a baseball game. That was fun. Haven't watched one of those in a while. Yankees, what was good with their pitching, Jake? I don't
Garrett
know.
Cole sucks too.
Cole was ass.
It's called choking. It's called choking on so much money. He's got so much money that it's just suffocating him. The
hand just wasn't sticky enough.
It's fucking.
I mean, I think what it comes down to is that Kyle Schwarber is his kryptonite.
Oh my God.
What's their third base coach's name again?
Phil Nevin.
Yikes. You're right. He's not gonna have a job. I don't know
never
who
gonna
told
be
him
in
to run.
pinstripes again. That's where he fucking is. That's his name.
At the end of the day, I think what it boils down to is that earlier when we recorded, Luke was going for the Yankees and the curse kicked in.
Mm-hmm. That's probably what happened.
Exactly.
You know what, Luke? This is your fault. This is exactly your fault.
Is the same thing gonna happen to the Seahawks then?
No.
He did pick the Seahawks also.
Oh my God!
No, he picked the Seahawks last week, so that doesn't even. Didn't you pick the Seahawks last week?
Yeah,
I don't know. It might flip flop.
All
It might flip flop.
So
each
it
week.
only applies to teams that Luke is actively rooting for.
All right, I'll go back to my Padres. I won't be in this territory anymore.
Padres aren't even in the playoffs, so that's fine. You could just
That's okay.
just keep
I'm
your
playing for next season.
It's like when Drake wore the shirt with all of the teams in the playoffs on it, so the Raptors would get past it. Is that where this came from? Is that where the Luke curse came from? Did the Drake curse kind of rub off on you? It's being like adjacent as both
it might be.
fans?
It might be.
Yeah,
literally might be. I know things got chippy there between my boy Manny and Tatis there at the end of the season, but we're playing for next year. I am the official ambassador of the San Diego Padres now on this TU. By the way, we didn't even mention that the Discord was asking for baseball forever now. And there you go.
Here it is.
Yeah, they got it.
Here it is.
They got it.
Baseball.
You're welcome, guys.
Absolutely. Whew.
Oh man.
Anything else? Anything else you guys want to get off your chest?
That's all I got to say.
I'm good. I'm great.
Right.
Talk to me tomorrow if Aaron Boone isn't fired, then we can have a whole nother episode.
I'm glad that we got our raw reactions to this because that served for some great stuff.
Yeah.
All right. How are we wrapping it up?
We plugged we didn't end up plugging it overtime, which is fine.
Oh, okay. You want me to just do it real quick?
Yeah, we can do that, and then we'll say a little something. And
all right. Someone plug socials, and then all right. Episode 23. And that is going to wrap it up for episode 23 of the Totally Unqualified podcast. If you're listening to us, make sure to go download the Overtime app. It's a great app. You could do so many things. It's sports meets social media, and it supports what we do. So, yeah.
And if you want to follow us on our other socials to keep up with everything we've got going on, I am Extra Points. Jake is Jake Maltese 3. And Luke is Football Fan Zone. I'm sure Jake is going to have plenty of Yankees hate content coming very soon, so be sure to look out for that.
Yep, I can't wait.
Yeah, and just fuck the Red Sox. Have a great night, guys.